PvP in Pokemon Go is finally coming out very soon. It's been a 2.5-year wait, but it's going to be coming any minute now. And even though a large amount of Pokemon Go players have been freaking out about this, I don't think that PvP is going to be good in Pokemon Go.
Now the information so far is limited, as they do not want to show off how the battling system will work, but they have shown some details on what's behind the PvP system, with the main info presented being the Battle League system. Now the battle system has basically been explained almost in its entirety over on Pokemon Go's Twitter, which makes it a lot easier for me to talk about it as we got a lot of information about it. Instead of going for the choice of making every PvP battle be a free-for-all, this one actually makes it so that you can put on some preset limits before starting a match. Now this is kind of a good idea in concept, and if it was well implemented into what they're saying, then this could have actually been a pretty good system, but there are a lot of flaws behind it. Now the leagues are divided into 3 categories: the Great League, the Ultra League, and the Master League. The Great League is the lowest out of the 3, and its limitation is that Pokemon above 1500 CP are not allowed to be used in the battle. The Ultra League follows, with that limitation now being set at 2500 for the max CP. The Master League is the highest though, having no limit on what you can choose to fight.
The Master League is basically the PvP league because the other 2 are basically useless compared to it, and they're useless because of these reasons.
First of all, they haven't provided anything yet on whether CP will be rounded down if you want to choose one of those other leagues, just as they do in gyms. This is bad because if they don't choose to round down CP, then Pokemon that do not reach those requirements for that league will not be able to be used in the battle, which means Pokemon that players have been working long and hard for are basically put to no use for those lower leagues, as they will just not be allowed to play at all. Another issue is for the Great League, as for being the lowest league, it should have had a lower CP cap, as some players would just like to use low CP battles in order to just test out other Pokemon, which basically if you were doing the Great League, or any of the other leagues for that matter, you could choose one of the lower CP Pokemon, as, you know, it still falls under that limit, but there is the issue with that. My point being that leagues have basically no reason at all to exist in the game. Now I can think of one reason which would not be good for players at all, but I'll get to that in a second. I want to go over first the reason why there's no reason for them to be in the game. The only point being that how the friend system works in the first place. You can't just trade with whoever you want, no matter where they are in the world. There are limitations to how far you could trade with someone, which are actually very, very low. You basically have to be very close to that person in order to do a trade. So PvP will most likely follow that route, which adds on to the fact why leagues are useless. You do not need leagues that limit the CP of the Pokemon that you use, because you basically communicate with the person right there of what CP Pokemon you want to use. If you want to do a low CP PvP battle, then you set it up with the person right there. If you want to do a high CP PvP battle, then you set it up with the person right there. There doesn't need to be limitations on the CP that you can use, as you can communicate right then and there of which ones you want to use. Now to be honest, trading did have that limitation for the main reason that they didn't want people paying for Pokemon or, you know, hacking for it, but that really didn't do much anyways. So if PvP was to not follow that route, then it would be a bit odd. But here's the big issue with PvP, the reason why I think that leagues exist in the first place. It's for the different levels of friendship. Now, as you know, the friendship system does give you new perks depending on how close you are as a friend with that person. Now, the 4th level, being best friends, is just an unneeded amount of time in order to do so. It does give you some pretty good perks if you do stuff with your friends. My issue is that the fact that there are 3 leagues in general presents an idea of what they might do to connect it with the friend system. Obviously, you cannot do PvP with just any random person on the street. It's most likely that they're going to have it that you can only do PvP with friends, which you'll probably only have access to certain leagues and need to gain them by becoming closer friends with that person. Now, hopefully, the way they don't deal with this is that the way to unlock the Master League is to become best friends with that person, because that takes a very, very long time in order to actually do that. And you'll probably only be able to do the Ultra League when you become Ultra friends with the person, the Great League when you became great friends with that person, and then only no PvP at all if you're just friends with that person. Which will probably make a lot of people mad, but when it comes down to big decisions lately, Niantic has been dropping the ball. For instance, the Sinnoh Stone, which was an item that didn't have a lot going for it in the first place, but they made it even worse with just all the other stuff that they've been doing, and to make it that the only way to get it is now only a chance from the breakthrough box, which you can only get at the least once per week. They really messed up, as you can see, I tried doing it and I got nothing from it. So that's another week down the drain that I'll have to be waiting in order to get the next one to hopefully finally evolve into a shiny Dusknoir. And now I don't get my shiny Dusknoir for the week. But now that we got the leagues out of the way, let's talk about the other information that they've shown us so far. Now, you're only able to use 3 Pokemon when doing a PvP battle, which is very disappointing for the fact that it should have been 6, which makes it a lot easier for some players to overpower their opponent and just make matches super quick and just no fun at all. Also, on top of that, it just greatly weakens you for type advantages towards your opponent, as you're only given 3 Pokemon to go for, and greatly limits you on your type advantages towards your opponent, as the 3 Pokemon don't give you enough. At most, you'll have 6 different types of moves to use towards your opponent, which most likely setups will not have that, as Pokemon like Tyranitar's best movesets are both rock type moves, so that just adds even more to the limitation. Now, what is a good addition that they did think ahead of is that there are going to be new party features when you look at your Pokemon storage, which allows you to make your teams of 3 for each league, which you can actually make multiple, as in the picture for the Great League you can see half of one underneath it. Now, the arena itself is actually pretty interesting, as it seems like we might be getting a new battle system, which I'd actually be very, very grateful for, but at the same time we don't know for sure, which they really do need a new battling system, because if they still stick with the tap and slide thing for the PvP, it's not going to end well. One main factor that comes to mind is connectivity issues. Even with raids, which the Pokemon have set patterns of attacking, sometimes moves just won't connect. You'll take damage even if you dodge, just all these issues, which if they made that for PvP, where now it has to get 2 inputs in, it's a bit of an issue. Moves won't land, you'll take damage even though you dodged. They really need to have a new system, or else this is going to be a problem. But they haven't said that they're going to add a new battle system yet. It's just from what it looks like and just where the spot that the Pokemon's going to be standing at, it seems a bit odd if they're going to have them move around and stuff. So maybe we might actually get a new battle system, but that means that there's going to be most likely new moves added to Pokemon, which is going to make things a lot more confusing. But I think that the current battle system is actually quite helpful for the raids, if they could fix the connectivity issues, that is. But the current battle system actually works in favor for the raids, as it would be more confusing if it was just a turn-based system, but for PvP battles, it would definitely not work at all. But if it actually does turn out that they try to make this at least a little bit faithful to the games and make it so that the Pokemon have 4 moves now instead of 2, that'd just be very odd. It'd be a lot of issues with just movesets in general. There's going to be a lot of things changing if this goes down, which I doubt they'll probably be doing that. Plus, it'd be leading to a lot of confusion as well, so I doubt that that'll be actually happening. It's just that the information Niantic gave us raises more questions than answers, with the only main question being answered is that PvP's finally come into the game, which a worker of Niantic did previously state in an interview that they were trying to get this out before the end of the year, so at least they're staying faithful to that. But staying faithful to the games is just something that they did not do whatsoever. And at the same time, it also kind of goes against their own game as well, as they're taking out some stuff that you wouldn't expect them to take out. With battles only being done with 3 Pokemon, it's really going to mess up with the flow and just make battles just a lot shorter than they should be, which the potential of making crazy teams is kind of gone, because you only get 3 and you can't do way too much with that. Like, sure, maybe you can make a team of shiny Articuno, shiny Zapdos, and shiny Moltres, but that's going to get stale really quickly and people are just not going to care anymore. And by not care anymore, I mean pretty much after the first battle. Sure, you could try your Dittos and other shinies and all that, but in the end, this system is going to die very quickly. And with the limitations put upon it, it's going to die even faster. Which is kind of funny, really, because this is a feature that so many players have wanted for 2.5 years now, myself included, and it's going to end up like this. But this is just my speculation. Maybe Niantic might actually do something really good with this, and that'd be awesome. I'd really want PvP to be good. But from what it looks like right now, it doesn't look like it's going to be doing much. And it seems like it's just going to make people more angry than it's going to make people happy. But that's all I got to talk about PvP right now. Hopefully some more information comes in so I can talk about it, but for now, this is all we got. I know a lot of people are excited for this new feature. If you're excited about it, I don't blame you. This is a big thing to come to Pokemon Go. It's just, from what it looks like, I'm a bit skeptical. And if you realized anything about the information of PvP, put that down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, as I'd like to make more videos alongside my catching videos about just talking about topics like this. And recently, I traveled to New York and got some really really good Pokemon hunts in. And if you want to check those videos out, they're right here. I've got 2 of them. One of them is a really, really good shiny hunt, while the other one was a pretty good shiny hunt as well, but we also got a Pokédex Gen 4 Sinnoh Pokemon, which is currently my only Sinnoh evolution thanks to the breakthrough box. But we got some pretty good hunts in those videos, so if you want to check them out, they're right there for you to see, and thank you so much for watching.